Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new Tesla update video. So as usual, today we're going to go over the market, see what the hell happened, because today was quite a bloodbath. Tesla actually held up quite well, only down 0.89%. Now, unfortunately, that does mean that, it did pretty much plummet the whole day, because it was at some point up like almost 5%. So, in theory, Tesla's down technically about 5 to 6% technically, if you want to think about it that way. But nonetheless, considering the markets, considering everything else, like QQQ, for instance, being down pretty much 2.7%, at that rate, Tesla should be down like, 2 or 5.5 to 6% roughly, give or take. So the fact that we're only down pretty much just shy of 1% is definitely Tesla outperforming the market. I mean, you can know how everything else is, right? I mean, you have NVIDIA down 3%, you have Shopify 5%, Square 9%, SoFi 8%. Those are smaller caps / to medium caps. So like Facebook, for instance, or Meta, like, almost 7%. Even Apple sitting at almost 4%, right? So Tesla overall, with that being said and done, still performing well, better than the market, holding up okay, which is good. And the main reason is because the China numbers came in for production and whatnot for Tesla, and they were actually good. They were pretty much just in line, if not maybe even slightly better, which is fantastic. So the good thing is the fact that, well, at least on the bright side, we did end up gap filling. Now, I don't think we actually gap filled the previous gap. Let's quickly double check that over here. No, it looks like we actually potentially did. It looks like we have no real gap fills to fill, which is a good sign. I like the fact that we have no gap fills, so that's good. That's not a bad sign at all. Now, the main thing to look at, of course, is the overall breakout of this trend that we're still technically in. The breakout is still very much there, right, until we get sucked back in. So essentially, if we fall back to like 700, and it's pretty much under 700 at this point, like well under 700, maybe like 690, that's when I would pretty much say that the dream for, push up to like at least the 800s, let's say the mid 800s at least, is on delay. Let's just say that it's going to be, definitely put on the back burner. So that's definitely something you don't want to see. So we want to make sure that we're kind of maintain being outside of this trend line, which is very, very important. Now, taking a quick look rather at the moving averages, right? We have the what's it called, the 10-day moving average. You can see we are now currently below that. If we're below that, that means we're most likely below the 5-day moving average as well. Actually, we're just barely above the 5-day moving average, which is a decent sign. That is a glimmer of hope, in my opinion. We kind of bounced right off of that, which is telling me that Tesla, it's still fighting for the trend, to keep it alive, to keep the uptrend, the breakout alive, and it's really fighting for that, to make sure that doesn't fall apart. Another decent thing that I actually started looking at, that also is a good thing to look at in general, is the 21 EMA on the daily, that I like, actually. So the reason you can see is because, well, it does follow it quite nicely, right? You can see over here as we were falling, it kept bouncing off of it like multiple times, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, like 13, and then even 14 over here. We kind of bounced below it, ended below it, and then we kind of closed above it, and then we started rallying off that, right? We kind of bounced several times here, bounced here, kind of bouncing it around over here. You'll have some false breakups. Again, this candle, in my opinion, was essentially a massive bull trap, but nonetheless, the point is the fact that this is a decent indicator to look at as well, just to see if we're overall in an uptrend or a downtrend. As of right now, you can see yesterday we bounced off of it, today we bounced off of it to the downside, unfortunately. So it is still acting overall as a resistance. So that, in my opinion, is one of the probably the biggest indicators that we'd want to see to not only close above but maintain above it. Like I said, I have a 3-day rule, so essentially what I'd want to see is a candle like this, but then also I want to see follow-up candles where we either like bounce off of it several times and kind of maintain just above it, or essentially just maintain well above it in general. So that's another thing you want to kind of start taking a look at. So at the moment it's sitting at 745, so essentially we want to see pretty much a nice solid push above 750 roughly, and maintain that, maintain that kind of price level, maintain the strength, because at the moment we've had 2 decent green days that were both essentially started off fantastic with a lot of green, and then just essentially bled out throughout the rest of the day. Again, I personally don't think it's too surprising, only because, of course, tomorrow, very important day, I've said this several times, we have the CPI number coming out, right, which is going to be a big number, regarding inflation. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to come out in the morning, I believe, even in the pre-market, so before the market even like truly opens. So that's going to be a big indicator. So we're definitely going to want that to come in, either in line or potentially even better than expected. That'll be ideal. If it's hotter or worse than expected, that's going to be quite a poor sign. So all in all, those are the moving averages I would take a look at. So overall, I still think that uptrend is still very much alive, right? So I think we're still in a spot where I wouldn't lose hope yet. I'm still I'm still hopeful, I'm still fruitful, I'm still excited, if you will. I did sell calls once we were around this kind of level. I can't remember exactly where, but somewhere around this level of like 755 maybe. I did sell calls for this Friday for 790 or 795. I can't remember which one it was. So just, you know, a quick little trade for me, just, you know, to finish off the week. But yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So the last thing, of course, that I like to look at in general is, of course, going to be also, by the way, the volume today, you can see sitting at almost 32 million. So definitely more volume on this kind of selling pressure, which, you know, isn't the most ideal thing in the world. I wouldn't put too much weight on it, just, you know, for today at least. If it continues, then that's obviously a lot worse. But, you know, it's definitely more bearish than bullish. That's for sure. You can't deny that aspect at all. And the last thing, of course, I do want to take a very quick look at is going to be the Bollinger Band, right? Again, you know, as usual, as expected, we are still sitting. Why does this thing keep doing this, man? I don't understand why it always changes this every single time. It's very strange. I'll just do this. We'll do that for now. Right, but nonetheless, the main thing you want to look at is the Bollinger Band for the white line, right? That's the main one I personally care about at the very moment. And you can see the white line, we are currently actually bouncing right off of that, or essentially closing right above that, which is another sign that, you know, it's the dream essentially is still alive to push up to potentially the 830s. I personally think if I had to play, you know, place a bet on it or take a, you know, a guess, if you will, I still think we will. And I still think as long as we don't really truly start breaking all of these trend lines, like the 5 moving average, this white part of the Bollinger Band, and especially as long as we don't fall back into this trend, you know, essentially as long as we're still maintaining above 700 is pretty much, I'm still fruitful and I'm still hopeful. I still think there's definitely a chance. But with that being said, if any of those start breaking, you know, it's like dominoes, it'll kind of, you know, get worse and worse and worse and worse. So you want to make sure that we kind of maintain above that. And the other thing that we would definitely want to start looking at as well, which I always usually look at with you guys, is of course the Bollinger Band on a smaller time frame. So in this case, you can see we did get a little bit tight. It's on the 15-minute actually. So you can see we did get a little bit tight, and then we did explode upwards. And then we exploded upwards again. And now you can see it's kind of, you know, hugging the bottom side. So I expect a move up to this probably like 736-ish area for at least, probably tomorrow. And then we'll see what happens there and if we get rejected or not. That's going to be probably what's going to happen tomorrow. There's some decent resistance. Again, we have the 735 here with the 736. So that can potentially get rejected. And then, of course, we also have where is that exponential moving average? Do I not have it here? I guess I didn't put it here. I need to favorite it. There you go. Put a star there so I can, you know, open it up faster. I don't know why it keeps putting this back to like, it's very annoying. I don't understand why it does that. It doesn't save my things. And then put this back to the 21, right? And then we'll save it. Beautiful. So then you can see the moving average, right? Or the 21 EMA, and of course the Bollinger Band, the white part of it. You know, they're very, very close. They're very close to being, you know, intersecting to each other, which is something else to keep in mind. You know, so that's essentially going to be the levels that I'm going to be watching out for. But again, you know, we're kind of in between both of them right now. We have support here, we have resistance here. So I think tomorrow is going to be like probably quite an eventful day, or at least an important day, where I think it'll dictate how the market is going to move for the next potential, you know, week or two. Pretty much all comes down to that CPI number in the morning. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say, guys. Unfortunately, you know, again, you know, a lot of selling pressure both days. That could have been fantastic green days. So, you know, it is what it is. But on the bright side, at least Tesla, compared to the market, is still outperforming quite significantly, in my opinion, as well. So that's definitely something to be hopeful about. And Tesla is showing strength. And as long as we can, you know, not get some horrible numbers tomorrow, I think that strength is going to kind of explode, and we're going to get a nice, beautiful run up over the next week, maybe two. But that's essentially what I'm seeing at the moment, guys. Let me know what you think about it down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for what should be quite an eventful day. So until then, thanks for watching. Peace.